This video is going to cover how you can set appointments from cold outreach. So it's going to cover the scenario where you've sent an email to somebody, they're interested, and now you have to set the appointment. And I think that I'm not the only one that feels this way going into 2026, but it's not that difficult to get interested responses. The difficult part seems to be getting them on a call. So that's going to be what I'm going to cover in this video here today. So just briefly on my background, I've been building cold outreach systems full time for 3 years. I'm certified as an expert by Instantly.ai, the largest dedicated cold email tool in the world. And I've sent millions of emails and booked thousands of sales calls and scaled my own agency with cold outreach. So, first of all, too many people just generate leads and they do 2 to 5 follow ups at max. And I see this all the time. I think this goes for like 90% of everyone that does outreach. And they wonder why no meetings are being booked. They see all these interested responses, all these leads, but they're just not going anywhere and they're not getting these appointments booked. So you need to get to a point, in my opinion, for most offers where you have at least 30% of your positive replies turning into meetings. And basically, there are 4 different situations you can be in. So you can have not enough leads generated and not enough leads booking calls, which is the worst situation. Then we have enough leads being generated, but not enough leads booking calls. Then we have not enough leads generated and enough leads booking calls. And then we have the best scenario here, which is where you generate enough leads and enough of these leads are actually booking calls. And so we're going to talk about how you can get in that most ideal fourth situation here. So in 2026, attention seems to be a lot more scattered. I think people get a lot of offers and it's hard to tell what is best from the prospect's point of view. They get all these different offers, different ways of solving certain issues. So, for example, with a cold email agency like me, they might also get exposed to all these AI agents that do all this stuff now. They don't know that this is kind of BS, most of it. And so it's very hard for them to navigate the situation. And it basically creates some sort of inherent paralysis by analysis among prospects. And so, in order for you to actually stand out, you need to be faster with your responses. You need to be better with your responses, more persistent, and you need to be everywhere. And so, the winner right now is not the best offer. It's the fastest, clearest, and most persistent offer. And this is what we see all the time. We see people with mediocre offers, people who don't deliver for their clients, and they're getting so much revenue. They're getting more revenue than people that are super, super good at their craft. And it's simply because they're better in their sales process. So, not that, you performing your service and delivering for your clients is unimportant. It's going to be very important for churn, to reduce churn. So, but still, you need to really have a good appointment setting system because it doesn't matter if you don't get any sales. So the first solution here is to basically look at your follow-ups here. So you want to do faster follow-ups. What I see oftentimes is people getting an interested response, waiting 3 days, and then following up. But I think that's too long. You need to be following up the day after and the day after that and the day after that because you need to basically capture them while they're warm because interest really does fade quite quickly. You also want to do longer follow-ups. So you don't just want to do 3 to 5. You want to ideally be following up for at least 90 days. And that's simply because people take longer to nurture these days. And I have kind of an analogy here, which is, if you're a person scrolling on TikTok, if you see a video once, you might stay there for 3 seconds and then scroll. But if you see this video again and again and again and again, eventually you're going to be like, okay, what's this all about? Like, let me just watch this video so we can get it done with, right? And I think it's the same thing here. And I know that from my own personal experience. I'm not just making this up because when I get cold emails, sometimes I'm looking at it and I'm like, this might be interesting. And I say, yes, I'm interested, send me more information. And they go ahead and they send more information. And I'm like, okay, I'll look at this some other time. They send me a follow-up email. I'm like, I'm busy right now. Let me just archive it and move on. And I do that maybe 3 to 5 times and then they give up. But if they were to just keep going for 90 days, eventually they're going to basically catch me at a time where I'm just not really doing anything. I'm on my bed. I'm looking through my email. I'm like, okay, let me see whatever they're sending me. Let me see this video. Let me check their website, right? So that's why you got to be persistent these days. Like people don't sit there and like actively allocate time to understanding what you do. They don't do that. So another solution is basically doing multi-channel outreach. So people have different preferences in terms of where they like to be contacted. So everyone is not an email person. Everyone's not a LinkedIn person. I know for myself, one of the best ways to get in contact with me is like SMS and WhatsApp. So if you can sort of diversify the channels on which you follow up, that is ideal. You can also do this now with Instantly.ai. So they have, an integration now with HeyReach and stuff like that. So it's becoming easier to do multi-channel follow-ups. And I think it's something that everyone should do. And I've tried that maybe 1 or 2 times. People have done multi-channel outreach with me. I get so many cold emails, and only a handful have actually done that and gone ahead and followed up with me on different channels. Solution three is basically phone appointment setters. So if you're targeting America, you could hire people in South America, and their sole job should basically be to just call all leads generated within 1 minute. If you're going to call people within 1 hour, just forget it. Like, you need to do it within 1 minute. You need to sort of have them just sit there all day long and just wait for leads to come in, and so that will drastically increase your booking rates just by doing this one thing here. I think it's really powerful. Just calling them literally immediately, setting the appointments, and taking it from there. But you also got to make sure that you're really training these phone appointment setters properly, and you want to make sure they're also compensated properly, because you need these guys to be super motivated. They need to see that notification and get excited because they know they can book a call and earn $100 or whatever. So yeah, that's something that's really important. The fourth solution here is to consider if the problem you solve is urgent enough for them to jump on a call. So this is basically something that doesn't necessarily pertain to the way that you handle the follow-ups, but it might just be your offer. And so in some cases, they might be like, okay, this is an expensive solution. I don't really care about the problem that much. And yeah, I'm just going to kind of chill, right? So how can you solve this? Well, I think one way you can solve this is by providing a front-end offer. So just tell them, like, look, we can do this. Like, we might have this like large retainer for our main service, which you don't find to be a very big problem right now. Let's do this front-end offer, and it's a one-time fee, and we can take it from there. And I think if you approach it this sort of way, and you just knock it out of the park once you deliver this, whatever deliverable you have for your front end offer, then they're going to be much more open to considering that retainer service you have, the long-term service you have. So I think that's also another solution, because it's not always just a speed to lead thing. It's not always just like you need more channels to follow up on. It could also just be your offer is not urgent enough. I think this is very, very true, actually. And I think most people don't talk about this enough. So if you need help with basically setting up your entire cold outreach system, you can check out www.scalesprint.io and work directly with me to set up a cold outreach system and basically optimizing your entire funnel. So we don't just generate leads for you. We help you structure your offer. We help you structure your pre-call flow and everything that's kind of surrounding the way that you close your cold traffic. So yeah, so if you're interested in that, you can check it out. And thanks for watching.